Now after this, there are three cases derived from the law of parallelogram. In our previous lecture, we have seen this derivation for the law of parallelogram. And from this derivation, we got these two formulas, one for the resultant and one for the your angle alpha. Now there are three cases for the theta. Theta is what? Theta is the angle made by force P and Q to each other, or angle made by Q with force P, or angle made by Q with x-axis, that is horizontal. That angle is your theta. Okay. Now, as there are three cases for this angle theta, the case one is if your theta is equal to 0 degree. That when the forces P and Q act along the same straight line, then your formula for resultant will be R square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos of theta, right? So as your two forces are along the same line, then their angle will be 0 degree. So therefore cos of 0 will be 1. And here in this formula, previous formula, if we put cos of 0 is equal to 1 here, then what it becomes? That P square plus Q square plus 2PQ. Okay, as cos of 0 equal to 1. So therefore P square plus Q square plus 2PQ is the expansion of P plus Q bracket square. Okay, so therefore R square is equal to P square, P plus Q bracket square, and therefore R is equal to P plus Q. R is equal to P plus Q. So this is your case 1. Okay, so this is the case 1, that R is equal to P plus Q if the angle between two forces is 0 degree. Now this one is the case 1. Now case 2 is the theta is equal to 90 degree, that the two forces will be acting at right angle to each other, means like this. This is your case 2. Okay, this is your case 2, that these two forces are right angle to each other. Okay, now if the angle between these two forces is 90 degree, then cos of 90, that angle we have to assume, and cos of 90 will be equal to 0 degree. So therefore again in previous formula you put cos of 90. Okay, so after placing this cos of 90 equal to 0 in previous formula, cos of 90 is equal to sine of 0, and sine of 0 is equal to 0. So therefore this total term becomes 0. 2PQ cos theta will become 0. So therefore R square is equal to P square plus Q square. So therefore R is equal to under root of P square plus Q square. That term we will get here. Here you can see this case 2 term. Okay, now case 3 is such like that. If your two forces are acting in 180 degree, 180 degree means they are moving away from each other into the straight line. So this is angle is your 180 degree. Okay, now if these two things are at 180 degree, then what will happen? That angle between these two will be 180 degree, and cos of 180 will be equal to -1, and therefore this term will become -2PQ. If we substitute here, cos of 180 is equal to -1. This will become 2pq, and therefore p square plus q square minus 2pq, and this is the expansion of p minus q whole bracket square. Okay, so r square is equal to p minus q whole bracket square. Therefore, r is equal to p minus q. Okay, so again, at the case 3, we will get r is equal to p minus q. Okay, so I hope that you got clear this point, case 1, case 2, and case 3. Okay, all these 3 cases are simple and not that much complicated. Okay, every case is dependent upon the angle only. Okay, now after that, what we are going to cover is the triangle law. Now, what is this triangle law? Triangle law is also similar to your law of parallelogram. It resembles your law of parallelogram. Remember this. Okay, if two forces acting simultaneously on a body are represented in magnitude and direction by the two sides of triangle taken in order, then their resultant may be represented in magnitude and direction by the third side taken in opposite order. Now, this is the expression of this law. Now, I will explain you this thing, how this can be achieved, how this law can be proved. Okay, so what is the triangle law? That consider this one triangle. Okay, now this is the one force, that is the force P that we have drawn. Now after that, this is the second force, that is the force Q. And now if we draw the third force, then that third force will be the resultant. Only the thing that you have to take it in opposite direction. Means now this is moving in anti-clockwise direction, right? This is the anti-clockwise direction. But what you have to do, you have to erase this and you have to redraw it in opposite direction. Then we will get the resultant here. Then we will get the resultant R here. So this is nothing but your triangle and it represents the triangle law. Now what is the triangle law in simple language? Two sides in one direction. Two sides in one direction, forward direction, and third side is in reverse direction. And that third side will be the resultant only. That is nothing but the triangle law in simple language. You remember the three sides, two sides in same direction and third side in opposite direction, and that opposite side direction will be the resultant of these two forces, that is P and Q. This is nothing but the triangle law, and the derivation of triangle law is given here, and that notes is also been shared with you. Okay, now this is how you can prove this triangle law. The derivation is given here, but in exam no one is going to ask you the derivation for this triangle law, but you can still study it. Okay, now after that, ASTC rule. This is also one of the important rule in the from the geometry. Basically, this has been taken from the geometry, and you might have studied it in your 11th and 12th. Okay, so ASTC means all sine tan cos rule. Okay, in first quadrant you are having the all positive, that is sine, cos and tan. You will have a positive in first quadrant if the angle is in first quadrant. In second quadrant, sine and cosec are positive. In third quadrant, tan and cot are positive, and in fourth quadrant, cos and sec are positive. This is the ASTC rule. Now, why we have written it here? Because it has been used in the previous derivation. In this derivation, we have here we have used this ASTC rule. Okay, 180 minus theta. 180 minus theta will lie in second quadrant. Okay, here 180 minus theta. Sine of 180 minus theta will lie in second quadrant. Okay, sine of theta minus alpha will lie in first quadrant. Here we have used this code, and that you can see it here for the derivation. Okay. Now the third law is the law of polygon of forces, and that law is also similar to the previous two laws. Now, what is the statement of this law? If a number of coplanar concurrent forces acting simultaneously on a body are represented in magnitude and direction by the sides of a polygon taken in order, then their resultant may be represented in magnitude and direction by the closing side of polygon taken in opposite order. Now, this is also similar to your triangle law. Only the thing is that here n number of forces will be there, but the condition is that this all forces should emerge from same point. Now this force is emerging P2, this force P1 is also emerging from the same point, this force P3 is also emerging from the same point, and this P4 is also emerging from the same point. Now this type of, now you can also have the P5 force. Okay, you can have the n number of force here emerging from the same point or meeting at the same point. Remember this thing. Means what? All these forces should be concurrent to each other. Coplanar and concurrent forces in the same plane and emerging or meeting at the same point. Okay. Now in this case, what will happen? Now remember this thing, what we are going to do it here. Okay, we are taking now force P1. Okay, now this line should be parallel to this P1. Okay, now P2 should also be emerging next to the P1 but parallel to this concurrent force P2. The same parallel line we are drawing it here, parallel to the P2. Now the P3 force, now we are drawing from P2 to P3, we are drawing this parallel line to P3 here, and we are drawing a polygon of this. Okay, now after this P3, we will draw the same line P4 here, parallel to this P4 here in this polygon. Okay, now all these sides are drawn with the scale. Remember, you cannot touch this line here because at the same dimension we have drawn these all four lines. Only the difference is that in first diagram, you can see that the concurrent forces are there. And in below diagram, you can see that coplanar forces are there in the shape of polygon. So we have converted these rays into the polygon. And after drawing this polygon with the dimension, there is some gap remaining here. Okay, you can see this gap. And that gap will be nothing but your resultant. That gap will be nothing but your resultant taken in opposite order, as like that in previous triangle law, where the third side we are taken in opposite order. In the similar manner, here also we are taking this resultant into the opposite order. Okay, so remember this thing. We are taking it in the opposite direction. So here we are drawing again this arrow in opposite direction to all this anti-clockwise. All forces here are in anti-clockwise, but resultant is clockwise, right? Taken in opposite order as per the expression. And at the final, we got this R. R is nothing but the resultant of this polygon. Okay, so I hope that you understood this thing clearly, that what is this your triangle law, what is this polygon law, that is the law of polygon. Okay, so that you must have understood. Okay, now after that we are also having the now here you can see we are also having one numerical, and as I have already told you that you must have a calci with you, you must have a notebook and pen with you. Okay, now here for this numerical, already we have solved some of the numerical, and this is our numerical number 3. Now what is given in this numerical, small numerical, that Find the magnitude and direction of the resultant of two forces, 40 Newton and 60 Newton, acting at a point with an included angle of 40 degree between them, the force of 60 Newton being horizontal. Now this is the numerical that you have to find the magnitude and direction of the resultant. Okay, so the force P is horizontal, force Q is inclined, and the resultant is making an angle of alpha with the force P. The force Q is making an angle of theta with the force P. Okay, again you are drawing one line parallel to this Q here. Here you can see we are drawing line parallel to the force Q, and that line will also represent the force Q. Here you can see it. And that force Q is also making an angle of theta with the AD or with the force P extended. Okay, so now you got this angle alpha theta here and same angle theta here. Okay, because the opposite sides of parallelogram are equal to each other. They make the same angle with the horizontal. Angle theta made by force Q is also the angle theta made by the CA with the AD here in this small triangle. Okay, so by the geometry you get all these things. Okay, now what is given in the numerical, that you have to write first. Remember this thing. Whenever you are solving the engineering mechanics numerical, first you have to write down what data has been given. So given data you have to write. Okay, that force P is equal to 60 Newton, force Q is equal to 40 Newton, theta is equal to 40 degree. That data you have to write, and you have to write that in solution which concept you are using to solve the numerical. That concept you have to write. That by using the law of parallelogram, we are going to solve this numerical. Therefore, we have written it here. By using the law of parallelogram, we get R is equal to under root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos of theta. So here we are writing these values under root of 60 square, that is the force P. For Q, 40, that is the 40 square, plus 2PQ cos of theta, 2 into P, that is 60, into 40, that is Q, multiplied by cos of theta, the angle is 40 degrees, so therefore cos of 40 degrees. After putting all these values, you have to make the addition and multiplication, and you will get the value of resultant. You cross check this value whether it is matching with your calculation or not. You cross check this value. So R is equal to 94.22 Newton. This is the value of resultant that you got from this given values. Okay. Now after that, they also asked you to find the angle made by the resultant. Okay. So therefore, you have to find the angle alpha, because you have to find the direction of the resultant, and that can only be found out by angle alpha. Okay, so tan of alpha is equal to Q sin theta divided by P plus Q cos of theta. Okay, so Q sin theta divided by P plus Q cos of theta. So you put the value of Q, you put the value of theta, put the value of P, you will get the angle alpha. Okay, so angle alpha you have to get, you will get 15.85 degree or 15 degree 51 minutes. Okay, so you know that this conversion 60 minutes is equal to 1 degree and 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. So this is the conversion ratio, that also you must know. You also must know the conversion between the degree to radian and radian to degree. Okay, you have to convert, if you want to convert it to the radian, then you multiply it with the pi by 180. If you want to convert the value into the degree, then you multiply by the 180 divided by pi. So that thing also you must know. Okay, now you can also cross check this answer with your answer. what you have calculated by using your calcs. Okay. Now after this, there is one more numerical, and this numerical is for your homework. Remember, first of all, I will explain you this numerical, that the angle between the two forces of magnitude 80 Newton and 20 Newton and 15 Newton, these two forces are there, is 60 degree. The angle is 60 degree, that is 60. The 20 Newton force is being horizontal. This 20 Newton force is being horizontal. Determine the resultant in magnitude and direction. You have to determine the resultant. If the forces are pull, and the second case, that is the second condition, the 15 Newton force is push and 20 Newton force is pull. Okay, 15 Newton force, that you are pulling it, 20 Newton force also pulling in pulling mode for the case 1. For case 2, 15 Newton force is push. Push means you are pushing it away. So you are pushing it away. You can see in this diagram below, that you are pushing this point by the force 15 Newton. Second case, the second force, 20 Newton force is pull, that you are pulling. Pulling means you are pulling it towards you, right? So the 20 Newton force is pull force. You are pulling towards yourself. So the arrow is downward here. Arrow is moving away from here. And the next one is your resultant, that you have to find. Okay. Now remember this thing, that resultant will always be nearer to the larger force, because resultant is the outcome of these two forces. Resultant is the combination of two forces. Resultant is the result of two forces. So therefore, it will be aligned towards the higher in magnitude force. Remember this thing. So this is your homework. Take a screenshot of this and try to solve this by your own. And in next lecture, we will give you the answers. Okay. So now how to solve this numerical? In case 1, two forces are there. So you are going to use the formula for resultant, that is R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2 PQ cos of theta. This formula you are going to use. R square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2 PQ cos of theta. This is the simple formula that you are going to use in both cases. But the angle matters here. Which angle you are going to use here? In first case, you are going to use the angle between P and Q is 60 degree. In second case, you have to calculate this angle by using the geometry, and that is the only trick. You can calculate it from this diagram. Okay, I will not tell you. I will also tell you this thing, that this 15 Newton force you are carrying forward. The dotted line is drawn here. You can see this dotted line here, that the force extension is considered here. And by using this extension, you can calculate the angle between this P and Q, as well as the angle made by resultant with the horizontal axis. And that angle is nothing but your angle alpha. Okay. So always remember this thing, that angle made by resultant with the horizontal is angle alpha, and angle theta is the angle made by force Q with force P. So this 60 degree is nothing but your theta. But if suppose that if this is your resultant R, then angle made by resultant with the horizontal axis is nothing but your alpha. Remember this. These two things are important. Okay. Now after that, there is one more important thing in our engineering mechanics subject, and that is the moment. We have already discussed it, but we will discuss it once more. What is the moment? Moment is nothing but the product of force and distance between the line of action of force and the point about which the moment is required. Okay, in this diagram you can see this. Force P and for this distance are perpendicular to each other, and you are going to find out the moment at this point O by the force F up to the point O by the distance D. So therefore, moment at O will be force multiplied by the perpendicular distance, and its unit will be Newton meter. Unit will be Newton meter because it is the product of force and distance. Okay. Now based on this moment, we are having one more thing, and that thing is nothing but your Varignon's theorem. Now Varignon's theorem is also important. It is based on the concept of moment of the concept of summation of moment. Okay. And what is the statement of this Varignon's theorem? Two or more forces, if number of forces are acting on a particle simultaneously, number of forces are acting on a particle simultaneously, then the algebraic sum of moments of each individual force about any point is equal to the moment of their resultant about the same point. That is the statement of this Varignon's theorem. Now, this can be explained in the simple language that moment of resultant is equal to summation of the moment of all other forces. So this is the expression, means by using this expression, this Varignon's theorem can be explained. Okay, so resultant is R for these all forces multiplied by the distance made by the resultant about a particular point is equal to the individual forces multiplied by their individual distances from the same point. Here in this diagram you can get it. You can zoom this all images. If you zoom it, you get it clear. Okay, that force F1 is at the distance D1, force F2 is at the distance D2 from point O, force F3 is at the distance D3 from the point O. All these forces are having the perpendicular distances. And resultant R is also there. Resultant R is the resultant of these three forces, F1, F2, and F3. Okay, now this resultant R multiplied by the distance D will be the moment by the resultant about point O. And that moment of the resultant will be equal to the moment by the individual forces. So this is nothing but the your Varignon's theorem, and that can also be verified for Rx and Ry also, means the X component of resultant and for the Y component of resultant also. Okay, so the same theorem can be utilized there also. Okay, so I hope that you got clear all these points.